And Desiree is the founder and trailblazer of Crest Leadership Coaching. She's also the creator of the Elevate Your Career 12-week program, which is the perfect springboard for ambitious, creative leaders to transition smoothly into their next career move. And this enables them to feel valued for their unique talents and get paid what they are worth. Who believes that's important? Give me a yes, yes, yes. It is so important to get paid what you're worth, because that impacts on your identity and your value, right? Well, I first met Desiree at one of our previous RippleFEST events last year, and it's been such an honor to not only work with Desiree through the Ripple Makers Mastermind, but Desiree also invested in herself to have one-to-one mentoring and coaching from me and support her to take that program and get it out to the world in a bigger way. So I'm really delighted, because I know all the bits and the juicy bits behind Desiree's business, and that's why I invited her to come here, because I know that her business, her integrity, her authenticity, everything is absolutely solid with this incredible lady. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I bring up to the global stage, please join me in welcoming Desiree.
You're simply the best.
Desiree. Goodness, I'm so excited to have you here.
Oh, so am I, Sammy. It's great to be here.
I'm so excited. So Desiree, like, I really got behind your business when we worked one-to-one together, and I was so impressed, and you continue to impress me and continue to surprise me, because I see you showing up and you've got amazing stories, and you're really showing those facets of yourself, not just your business. And because you've made your brand really personal, I believe that that's why you're getting the engagement and interaction. So guys and girls, if you're not already connected with Desiree, you're not friends with Desiree yet, make sure that you go up into the group, click on members, go find her, make sure you friend request, and keep in touch. Now, Desiree, just before I dive in with my questions, for those people that don't know you yet, which I think is a travesty, we've got to let everybody know about you. But for those who don't know you yet, would you share a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you do it?
Sure. So I'm Desiree Anderson. I originally hail from South Africa, Cape Town, where I grew up. Moved to the UK 22 years ago. I've always been in HR, so I studied in HR to quite a high level at one stage, and then also as a coach to combine the two skills and help ambitious and creative leaders really be paid what they're worth, love what they do, be valued for what they do, in order to live their dreams and their legacy of a life they love. So that's really why I do what I do, because when I was in business for many years as an HR professional, I used to have to do the whole spectrum of HR, which included firing a lot of people, because that's what you have to do. And it really broke my heart. I realized why sometimes that needed to be done if somebody wasn't performing, but the way that it was done and some of the toxic cultures and the demotivational behavior that I saw in organizations really just cemented why I wanted to open Crest Leadership Coaching. And that's really what I operated from. And I do like to talk about my own life stories. I think people say, Desiree, wow, you've had quite a touching life. Yes, I believe that's all led me to where I am today, to be able to offer a heart-centered coaching business that really is down to earth, to help the people that are my clients, that are attracted to me as soul clients, so that I could help elevate and move them forward.
And you've done that. You've worked with hundreds of change makers, and you're on a mission to support many more. What I want to do is now get behind some of the nitty gritty of how you've done it, because one of the things that I love to ask change makers is, how old were you when you first realized that you were a change maker? Because I believe you're a change maker and an influencer. So when was the first time that you realized that in your lifetime? And take us back to that time in your life.
Well, it makes me chuckle. I can think of two incidents, but when I was about 6, my dad was a retail manager in the clothing industry, and they were looking for child models to model the clothing from the store. And so I was chosen and had to walk up the ramp, strutting my stuff. And most of the children, we were given instructions, most of the children followed the instructions. I came on and I did some dramatic dance. I was cartwheeling. The crowd was going absolutely wild. I think it was then that my parents realized this child's not going to follow instructions, but also there's something a little bit different about Desiree that probably isn't going to be put on a leash in her life. So that was the first sort of time everybody thought, oh shit, crap, what's happening here? And of course it's continued ever since.
I can't imagine that about you. You're just so quiet and demure. Yes, I can imagine that completely. And obviously you've carried that confidence and that star quality. You've carried that into everything you do. What was it that led you to setting up your own business? Like, what led you up to that moment? Did you leave your job? Did you get made redundant? Like, how did you end up in business?
Yeah, so I'd been an HR manager, and then I was a consultant for a number of leading companies. And I found myself working very long hours. At that stage, I never said no to anybody. I had a real sense of duty to put the company first. And because of my loyalty, I just found my health and my well-being was just being ground down. I think the turning point for me was one night at about 11 o'clock when I was taking the train home from London. I still had to get home, and I had to be up at 6 a.m. to get back for a meeting the next morning. And I just thought to myself, this is not right. I'm not being really valued for what I do. I'm not valuing myself. That was the main thing. And also my heart felt broken by some of the things that I was having to do. And I realized that I could do so much more with my gifts in my life and just help so many people that I'd seen in business. And that was a turning point for me. And I'd never considered myself an entrepreneur. I think that was the thing. I'd come from a family of parents who had just sort of worked the 9 to 5 in corporate environments. So I didn't come from a family of entrepreneurs. So for me, that was a major thing to even consider that I could open my own business. But I did. And here I am.
You did, and here you are indeed. But Desiree, what I'd love to know is, in terms of how the journey you've been on. And so you started your business, and to other people it could look like, oh, Desiree's got it sorted, she made a decision, she was going to start a business, she went into business, now she's in business. What would you say has been the hardest thing you've ever had to do whilst you've been growing your business? Because I mean, there's a lot of things that are obstacles, there's challenges. I mean, we're faced with challenges on sometimes a minute by minute basis. Like, what's been one of the hardest ones that you've found as you've been growing your business?
The hardest thing for me, as I gained in self-awareness and started really being in touch with who I am, and then having to stand alone in business, and every day when I wake up, it's my mood that could shape it. It's my creativity that could be the difference. It's my networking that could move the business forward. And I think with the background that I've been on, I've had a difficult childhood like many of us. We moved around continuously. We even spent a small stint in an orphanage, my brother and I. It was a very short period of time when mum couldn't look after us. But essentially, I kind of brought my brothers up. And I think for me, getting over my own self-sabotage of thinking, I can be successful, I can actually break those generational barriers, was to me the hardest thing that I've had to work through in the last few years since opening the business. Actually, that belief in myself. So if there's anybody out there, I hear you. I do understand how tough that is, but it's so worth it.
Wow. And does that ever come back to you? Are there times when you catch limiting beliefs and things sneaking up on you and you think, hang on, that comes from that, hang on, I'm still carrying that? Like, what work have you done to move yourself forward, to not be paralyzed by those things?
Yeah, and I think there have been times in the past when I was paralyzed by that and couldn't find my voice, or the voice was there, but I was too afraid to express it because, wow, what if I am successful? What if I surpass my own expectations? So I think there've been many times where I've had to catch myself. I think my coaching training and becoming a coach has really helped me be more honest towards myself. That was really the start of my journey. Once I started understanding myself and accepting myself fully for all my flaws, but also recognizing my strengths and that I deserve to have my voice heard. When that little voice inside me, that little frightened girl that I often get, comes out, I understand her and I'm able to give her the self-nurturing and then just, remind her and myself as an adult of where I want to go and why I am here. So yeah, I think that self-sabotage will always lurk inside me because of my background, but I've learned to master her and I've learned to nurture her.
That's so lovely to hear you, that strategy for what you're doing, because there's so many business owners and entrepreneurs, startup businesses, solopreneurs, people that are really focused on building a movement or building their business, growing whatever it is, their products, their programs, launching things. There's so many balls that we balance as we grow our businesses, and you've spoken to quite a few of those things that I think a lot of people are going to go yes, and tick all of those things off. What has been your biggest oh fuck moment in the whole of your business? Because we all have these oh fuck moments. What's yours been?
Yeah, I think I just say that sort of under my breath mainly every day, but and there've been quite a few, trust me. But I guess one of the more recent ones, when I say the last 2 years, was when I created a product. I'm very creative. I love creating. I've learned to rein it in now through planning and through understanding business more and how to create abundance. But I woke up one morning and decided to create this program on teens, and I got a graphic designer to do the logo, and I wrote the program. And then a while later, I thought, oh crap, does anybody need this? Because this was at the time after the lockdown. I had created a number of programs during lockdown on remote teams, which were very well received. But after the lockdown, when things became hybrid, it wasn't so much of a need. And so I had to then shelve that project because before even launching it, because with my own intuition, I realized it wouldn't sell. But I had actually invested so many hours in it because of my enthusiasm, just for creativity and going off-piste, just doing my own thing. And yeah, like a sort of wild puppy, I have had to rein myself in because these kind of moments waste a lot of money and waste a lot of time.
Oh my goodness. And I mean, you've been through our process now, and we've obviously worked closely together as well. How have you found it now, having more structure and knowing what to do and what to say and how to get it out there? What's the difference now in launching things, having the system behind you versus you just kind of spray and pray?
Yeah, I think I've never seen myself as a natural, like my other half, he's in data analysis, and that's just not me. So I had this impression of myself. I was this kind of entrepreneur, I mean, I wasn't walking around in the flowy skirts, but I felt that was all part. I was owning it, big style. So when I had to suddenly realize that actually being a successful business person means having structure, actually getting over my own self-sabotage, procrastination, perfectionism, comparison, all those things that I had and still have to a certain extent, big time. It's given me a lot more security working within certain parameters, confines, and also reaching out to connections and my key groups, of which this is one, because I don't feel so alone. And I realize that I'm not so alone as well in making these big F-ups. And that's fine, get back on the horse and start again. It's okay to make mistakes as well.
Yeah, well, it's more than okay to make mistakes. I know somebody who gets up every day and aims to fail as much as possible each and every day, because they're like,
that makes me feel
the more
better.
I fail, the more I'm going to win, right? The more I fail, the more I win. The more I win, the more impact I make. The more impact I make, the more income I create. The more income I make, the more I can give. And ultimately,
Fantastic.
it stacks, isn't it? It's like dominoes. So my darling, as we come to the end of this time, which has gone so fast already, I have one more question for you. If you had to build your business all over again, what would you do sooner?
Yeah, there are a few things really. I think first thing is I'd get the right people around me. Now that's sometimes difficult to find, but trust what your values are and try and surround yourself with people of similar values. Try and also get people who have got knowledge of business, who are ahead of you, that could short circuit some of the things that you may get wrong and waste time and money on, which many of us can ill afford. So get the coach, get the social media person, even if you hire them on an ad hoc basis. And I think one type of specialist that I probably didn't invest in was somebody who could teach me about abundance, because we didn't have it when I was growing up. And also my prices, not to do things for free. I wasted a lot of time at the beginning being a sort of Mother Teresa to everybody, which was all very great for them, but not for me. So that's really what I would say. And I would also finally say I would focus on creating products sooner and getting a funnel that speaks to my ideal customer and actually offers solutions for their pain points.
Amazing. Absolutely brilliant advice there. Each and every one of us can take that and go, thank you very much. I'll have that. I'll just put that into my business. Desiree, you make such a difference to so many. Thank you so much for being here to make a difference in our lives, to create ripples for us. Is there anything that you'd like to leave our audience with this evening?
Just to say we can all do it, and just celebrate the uniqueness that's within you. Don't try and be like anybody else.
What a great grand finale. Desiree, thank you so much. Desiree, if you could go into the RippleFEST group and make sure you put your contact details, however you want people to connect with you. And guys and girls, remember, you can go to the top of the One Drop Movement Facebook group, click on members, and you can reach out to Desiree that way and connect and start the conversation going. Desiree, thank you once again.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.